You might be able to tell from my voice I'm a little bit under the weather today, so we're not going to drag this one out too much. Just a quick video because I want to talk about something that's going to go on the shelf behind me here. Yeah, this bit behind me, it started off as just a blank wall, which of course I didn't want to be sitting in front of a blank wall. I also wanted some shelving to be able to put stuff on. I thought I'll put some interesting things on there. Things that I've featured perhaps in the past, or things that are colourful, things that just put a smile on my face, things that mean something to me. And one of the things that I always wanted to put on here was a wave motion machine. You see, quite often when people have a bit of a backdrop like this, one thing you'll have seen, quite a lot of people have lava lamps. It just adds a bit of motion and colour. The only issue with lava lamps is they take a while to heat up and get going. So unless you're really planning ahead by like about an hour or so and putting the things on early, your lava lamp's going to be sitting there looking rather flat. A wave motion machine, you can just switch it on and it works straight away. I've got this one here, it's in a packet. I'm going to get it out in a minute. I haven't looked at it yet. There was one that featured briefly in a video, and it was the only one that was available in the shops. The first one I ordered broke in transit, and the postman turned up with a bag full of blue envelopes and my blue box which contained this wave motion machine that had all leaked. Cheap, nasty, like plasticky thing. He wasn't best pleased. I got in touch with the people, said it broke in transit. They sent me another one. After one video, it developed a big bubble in the top and the thing just wouldn't tip properly anymore. The reason that these mean a lot to me is I remember as a child going into a shop in Oldham, which was the local town to where I was raised, and there was this, it was a jeweller's, and quite often in the UK, jewellers used to sell like other things beyond watches and jewellery. They'd sort of do ornaments and things. This one seemed to have these kind of kinetic type things. They'd have lava lamps, they'd have one of those fibre optic lamps. I've got one of those somewhere, not a very good one, but you know, with the little fibres that come out and they all change colour at the end. Thought about getting one of those for here, but they just take up too much room. You can still get those. The thing that you can't get is the big wave motion machine, which they had in there. And I remember seeing this in this jeweller's, and I used to look forward to going to have a look at this thing because I thought it was very, like, it seemed massive to me at the time. But now I was trying to figure out when it was that I saw this. How old was I? And I think this is one of my earliest memories. That's why this means a lot to me, because when I think back now, we used to go in this jeweller's quite a lot, and I used to look at these lava lamps and this wave motion machine, particularly the wave machine. And now, just recently, I thought, why did we go in that jeweller's so often? Because my mum didn't really have much in the way of jewellery. She wasn't like interested in it in any way. And now I realise that she'll have been going in there because I like looking at these things. She'll have been pretending to look at jewellery just for me to go in that shop. And if I'm going in this shop with my mum, this would be before I went to school because she didn't tend to go shopping at the weekend and stuff. So this would have been during the week. So I've got to think I was probably 4 or 5 when this was happening. And it's stuck in my mind, going in this shop, look at this wave machine. So I always wanted a big wave motion machine, and I finally got one. All right, now, I'll show it to you, and then I'll explain where it came from and why you probably don't want to buy it from one place, and the place that I did get it from is probably not going to sell you one either. But let's have a look at it. Right, so here it is. I think this is an 18-inch one. I notice he's got it in a sealed bag, which is a good idea, given what happened to that cheap one. I don't know if it's plastic or glass. I think it might be some sort of acrylic. I was concerned about this getting broken in transit, but it did make it here safely. There is a bit of an air bubble in there, and I don't know if there's supposed to be one. Maybe you need one for the thing to work. I really don't know. That took a while, but the fact there's no moisture at all on this indicates to me that it's not leaking. It's supposed to have a bit of an air bubble in the top, but we'll see. We'll keep our eye on that over time, but I just want to make sure the effect works properly. You can see a few air bubbles floating around. I think it needs just to settle down a bit. Of course, being in transit, it's been every which way up. It can be. You can get these separately, just like this, for playing around with in your hands, but I really wanted one that was automated, hence waiting for this thing, the base. This is the important bit. More of this stuff, give me a minute. Right, so I think this is some kind of 3D printed case. and trying to figure out the voltage. We've got a Euro plug on there, and I can see through here, I don't know if you can see, looks like 220 to 240 volts on that motor. So I don't need a step down on this. We've got a inline switch on it, so all I need to do is put that into a travel plug adapter. Right, so that's what we need, and let's just plug this into power. Switch it on. Oh, that switch isn't good. Wait a minute, that switch is just flopping. It's not switching at all. Yeah, that's no good. Okay, well, unfortunately that switch is useless, so what I'm going to do, I just want to make sure that hasn't gone through. No, I think we're all right. I'm just going to wire it up together, and then I'm going to get a proper switch for it later. I'll probably replace the whole flex. Right, that'll do temporarily. Let's plug it in again and see what happens. Right, now we've got some action. Okay. Right, so let's pop the thing on the top of it. Now there's a long side and a short side, so we've got to put it the right way round. There we go. I think that's it. Is that on? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about that bubble at the top. I don't think that's right. I don't think it should have as much of a bubble as that. Right, now I know nothing about these things, but I've just noticed there's a section at the end here which seems like it's kind of closed off, and I wonder if the bubble is supposed to be in there. Maybe that's how that's supposed to work. Let's just unplug it. Right, let's get that there. Ah, now, hold on. Yeah, there we go, see? So that's what that's about, right. So we get all the bubbles in that section there. Ah, yeah, now we've got it. Right, I think that might be it now, so let's just have another look. Oh yeah, that's it, that's what it's supposed to be like. Oh, panic over. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Now, the reason I'm so happy to get hold of this is because they're so difficult to get nowadays. At one point, you'd be able to find these things in plenty of shops. Nowadays, not so easy. You would have thought it's just a simple thing like lava lamps they carry on making. I mean, you can get plenty of lava lamps. The wave machines, well, there's one company, or perhaps one chap in the US, Hughes Wave Motion Machines. And I've been looking at this website on and off for years because I've been waiting for him to have one in stock that I could buy. He's sold a lot of spares for them, and I thought that he'd just stopped making them. But I kept my eye on it. Every now and then I kept checking just to see what was going on. Anyway, not too long ago, he said he got 30, I think it was, coming out in May 2025 if you signed up. So I signed up, heard nothing, and there was none available in May either. Just, it seemed, I don't know what had happened. I thought maybe the guy died or something. Anyway, I checked again in late October and they were just there in the shop. Now they're expensive, $400 odd, but this seems like the last guy that makes them. Now, there is a shop that's online that's in India. They look to have loads of different models in loads of different sizes, and the prices are sort of sensible. I mean, a couple $100 or so converted from Indian rupees and that. But I was going to order from them because the Wave Motion Machine guy didn't have one in at the time I was looking. But I thought this site looks a little bit dodgy. Now, it could be completely legit, but if you want to order, it's money transfers and stuff. I've done some searches and I haven't seen anyone saying, yeah, I've got one from here, it's brilliant. And maybe I should try them one day if they're still here in a year and see if they do actually send me anything. But that is why I bought this from Hughes Wave Motion Machines. I wish more people were making them. I wish people were making them in large sizes and you could get them in shops and stuff, but no. Looks like there's one guy left in the world that I trust to send me one. And even him, when I sent him the money, I thought, this is not going to turn up. Anyway, it did. So there's just one thing left to do, and that's to replace this inline switch. Now, I don't have one of these in the house. I'm going to have to order one in, and it seems like a good opportunity to replace this whole end of the lead as well. So I can get one with a UK plug on the end and a longer lead, and then with an inline switch at this end that's of a higher quality. So I've got to do that before I put this thing on the shelf, but at least we know it's working just fine. Yes, that switch being broken, really no big deal, because I was going to replace that flex at that point anyway. The switch would have had to go in the bin because I need to splice two cables together and put a new switch in. So it doesn't make any difference. I'm just really glad that this thing was finally on sale after years of looking, and I was able to get hold of one, and it arrived in one piece. And it works, and then that bubble that I thought was a problem wasn't one, because it's supposed to fit in that chamber at the end. So as it is, everything has worked out. Now, the more I use this, the more the little tiny bubbles inside the glass are going to get moved around into the right place. But as it is, it just looks exactly how I remember these things and how I wanted it to look. And I really wish I could ask my mum if she did used to take me into that shop just so I could have a look at these things. It's something I've only thought about recently, and unfortunately she died a couple of years ago, so I'll never be able to ask her now. But I'd like to think that, yeah, she did used to pretend to browse for jewellery just so I could have a look at these kinetic sculptures in that jeweller's all the way back in the early 1970s. Now, I suppose while I'm talking about this backdrop, I might as well answer some of the more common queries I get about the things that are on here, because there are a couple of things that people often want to know about. The first one, the one that gets asked about the most, I think, is this ring of flickering orange LEDs. Now, this comes from an Etsy store, Evolution, but I know him from his work with smart cars. But anyway, he put this together for me, but he's got an Etsy store, and you can buy these. You've got to assemble them yourself, and all it is a load of LEDs that you have to solder to this circuit board and put some power into it. And it's not microprocessor controlled, it's just that all these little flashing LEDs have a different tolerance just out of the box. It's just a slight variation between them. So when you put them all on here and just put power into them, they all start flickering away at different times. And of course that's on my Sony PSF9 turntable I've got up here. I just thought it gave it something a little bit more than it was, because it looks a bit vertical at the moment. Behind me, Prison TV, that's perhaps, I think that's the second most popular video that I've done. Down here we've got the Nova Globe and the Soundburger, the Bang & Olufsen boombox. Oh, down here, this is Wheelie Yellow. He's only appeared in the last couple of videos. This is merch from the web store from Wheelie Yellow, the YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to explain it to you. Just have a look, Wheelie Yellow. I'll put links to these things in the video description, by the way. And we've got a Curta calculator there, the 8-track boombox, the yellow Handycam. People often want me to review that. That isn't going to work. I bought that as a broken device for a prop, and there's a little mini system that I fixed recently with the belt in it. Over here, that gets asked about a lot. That is the Petru record player now playing stand. I did a video about that, so I'll link to that in the video description. We've got the 8-track little TNT devices here. We've got a Zenza Bronica ETRS camera there, medium format. I've never used, but I intend to one day. We've got a plane flying over that you might be able to hear. We've got an orange telephone here that I just bought because I like the colour of it. We've got a safe, and the other reason that's there is to prop the orange telephone up, and then there are a few other things besides. But yeah, that is basically what's behind me. Oh, and we've got a Terminator hand here coming out of the top, and that was just out of a Blu-ray or DVD box set. I'm just about to cough, so I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, now I know this has been a chatty video, even though I've been unable to speak properly, but the reason I wanted to make this video is because this thing is going to appear behind me somewhere once I've cleared a bit of space. And I'm sure people are going to ask, where did you get that? Well, I can link them to this video, and that's the purpose of it. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed that for a bit of a different kind of video. I know it's not usual stuff, but that's all I've got for you this week until this improves. So that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.